Welcome Restoration Druid enjoyers, let's talk about once again about Druid in Dungeon, but this time around Wildstalker, and I will be talking more about like not only hero talent different but completely different build, and basically you can mix these two together just to mix it to your liking. But I choose like one guy from one side, another guy from other side, and of course there is a lot of mix you can do together. Whatever you enjoy, sometimes it's better this, sometimes better that, depending on your group, like which classes do you have and blah blah blah. A little bit more about this with the talents, but let's go through stats fast. So topmost priority on Druid is blast your haste to the heavens, absolutely pump that haste, get at least 20,000. You can do more, but then diminishing returns are already starting on me. So haste is most important because we are healing overtime effects, and the more haste you have, the more healing overtime effects are healing. Also damage is overtime, so haste is increasing your damage too quite decently. Second thing, we are using many abilities in a short time, or rather we want to, that's why we are pumping that haste, so very important. Second stat is mastery, another huge part of Druid healing, and if we are feeling confident with our healing, we have huge item level already, then we start switching a little bit mastery to versatility to have some survive too. But otherwise, versatility and critical can be zero if you are focusing pure on healing done in the dungeons or even raid 2. So haste, mastery, that's what we are going to. So 20,000 haste, 10,000 mastery, and then you get high item level and you can just a little bit more differentiate your stats, but these two you should have. Alright, so let's have a look on the talents. So my keeper of the grove guide, I focus on abundance, I focus on rejuvenations, and I focus about stacking those rejuvenations, get your abundance, and just blasting your regrowth, even Tree of Life to just cut off that RNG. And the Wildstalker, I like full RNG because its main ability is RNG anyway, because it just chance to proc, and it's a huge proc. Not only it's healing, not only it's increase healing through mastery, it's also increasing your healing by 20%. So it's huge, but it's RNG. So this is from other side, and this is full RNG guide, I would say, because it's a huge also clear casting with the forest fall and stuff like that. So of course there is a mix you can do between, but I like it separately. So I apply Wildstalker if I want to be more RNG, more sustain, more about procs, and the other one when I have absolutely in control what I'm clicking when I'm clicking. So yeah, we have Convoke that everybody seems to love so much. Yeah, it's great until it isn't, but usually it's great until it isn't. Alright, so a little bit about talents over here. So of course, if you don't need that much CC, you don't need that much Typhoons, you are not going to get it to interrupt. For some reason it's huge, but sure. If you're not doing it anyway, why to have talent there? So you can choose some rejuvenation, longer duration, ideally when you are mixing it with all the rejuvenation talents is great. Or you can mix it with even more kitty damage, like you can take Trash Evil, do some decent millions damage over there. You can go more defensives over here, or you can take over here, or here. So a little bit mix on the left tree, not very important one. Also this talent I really like when I'm playing Wildstalker because it's saving me global cooldown when playing kitty damage. But if you don't like it, sure, place it somewhere else for some survivability. Maybe you like more range. So a little bit tweaks you can do on the left side. And from the right side, like little tweak, you can take 2 stacks instead of this one. I kinda like this one because it's increasing that Regrowth healing from nature swiftness by another 35%. And I like that because then potential of Convoke and that improve Regrowth from it, it's just higher. But this one is, you make it more chill if you need to heal here and there. Because of course it don't improve like your sustain healing over time, because it's not increasing your cooldown reduction. So not like you can squeeze more nature swiftness, but you are not using it exactly on cooldown, so yeah. Then you can choose take tongue over here and take it for Iron Bark to just increase survivability if you have some squishier class. And from the bottom, like you can completely sacrifice this. I like it because Reforestation is usually like off Convoke on AoE. So on one AoE I'll use Convoke, but it's minute cooldown, and when it's AoE a little bit more often than that, Then on second AoE I'm proccing Reforestation, and then again I have Convoke ready, and then again I have Reforestation ready. Like Reforestation you have about once a minute. But of course you can just sacrifice it, this is great sustain, but you can just go clearly for Rejuvenations, you can get your mana talent, you can suck it over there, you can even go fully to Abundance, but I like it more with the other talents because I think it's working better. So when I'm going Wildstalker, I just like this one build, or even just the faster damage over time effects, faster healing over time effects, mostly for damage because this is quite nice increasing your damage. The other one, it's increasing your sustain because you have that 3 bonfires. I didn't do much in dungeon, I didn't even bother. I was tired already there. So you can play with it a little. This is when I'm taking when I believe people will live, but usually what I play is this combination. So whatever you like, I will promote this one. I think is the nice middle way to have some utilities, some healing, some damage, everything a little, and to not be bad with anything. If you want exactly this talents, link to import it will be in the description. And let's move on gameplay rotation priorities, whatever. So I will be done focusing on this more proc build. And if you want more like the Skipper of the Groove and Abundance more build with the Rejuvenations and stacking those and stuff like that, then check my other guide. I will link it also in the description. There's Keeper of the Groove and with more Abundance and those Rejuvenations. Even without Convoke, because I like to play that hero talents with completely out of RNG. Well, of course, still little energy with those procs of clear casting, but... Alright, actually, let's go on this priority finally. So, little note on the start. What is important to realize with the Druid is our mastery. So, for me now is 11.4%. That means every healing overtime effect I have on any player is increasing my healing by 11.4%. Any heal doesn't need to be healing overtime. Just healing overtime effect is increasing this. That means any single low healing overtime effect that is doing almost nothing. For example, we have Spring Blossoms and we have also Cultivation. When you check healing done, there are absolutely nothing and it's garbage. But look, it got 2,585 hits. That means its uptime was huge. It was healing average hit 4,000. That is absolutely nothing. That is not important because it's a huge uptime on it because most people are standing in Efflorescence. And guess what? It's increasing your healing by what? Your mastery. In this case, 11.4%. So even some very low healing overtime effects like these two are great example. It's Spring Blossom, Cultivation. They are healing absolutely nothing, but they are working to increase other heals that is actually pump that heals. So even something is healing less, we still want to use them. It's not about their healing, it's about increasing other heals. So when we are playing Druid, you always need to think about that, because that's how we heal a lot. Without it, well, maybe you could do it automatically, but you want to realize what is happening. Alright, so let's move on our priorities. So first one, as always in the dungeons, we have Lifeblooms. So we are keeping 2 of them, we cannot do more, just 2 of them. And we want to always keep it on other targets than us. If it's on us, it's giving 10% to periodic heals. Before it was 20% and it was still almost not worth it in dungeon. And now it's just half, so definitely it's not worth it to keep it on us, because for us what is important is that extra bloom at 4%. So let's talk about what is bloom first. What is bloom is that a big heal on end of the life bloom, and it's just healing much more. But with this talent, it also have chance to bloom anytime. It's extra bloom. And it's anytime when it's some periodic heal on the target with life bloom. That's why we are keeping this life bloom on other targets than us, because through that extra blooms, and then when something bloom, it will heal through verdancy, that is healing 3 people in Efflorescence. And these 2 parts are bigger than just increasing healing overtime effects by 10%. So if you are healing AoEs, you can see where I have verdancy. Well, everything is usually heal. I was healing a lot in the dungeon. I was playing around. Do I have another dungeon? Mess, you don't have anything to heal in Mess, never mind. So verdancy is a huge part, then the life bloom, this is the bloom part. Huge, massive potential of heals, and that's what we are going for. So if there is just AoE into the group, go for it. In the case you are the one or one of two people that are getting damage. So we're just thinking about pure healing increase from Lifebloom and how much it heals, then using on yourself. But don't think about Lifebloom when using on yourself. You will get 10% increase healing auto effect or periodic heals. Don't think about it. Just if on you, then you need to be healed more than others. Then you use Lifebloom on yourself. So that was a huge part of Lifebloom, but there is much more. So Lifebloom counts as 3 stacks of mastery. So it's like 3 healing auto effects. So you already have a huge, massive increase to targets with Lifeblooms. So the targets that have Lifeblooms are usually safe. So usually one on tank, because he's always getting damage. And then I'm putting one on ranged DPS, because melee DPS are usually staying in Efflorescence, and they are healing through the Verdancy. So they have some little extra other healing, because ranged are often standing outside of Efflorescence, so this is how I take care of them. Because on Wildstalker, it's even more important to stand in Efflorescence, because it got chance to proc as symbiotic blooms. So that's why I usually keep it on ranged DPS. In the case there is some AoE, like usually on bosses that is more AoE and tank is not getting that much damage, just use 2 Lifeblooms on 2 DPS. And still more about Lifebloom, so this is now passive, and every single heal of a Lifebloom have chance to proc Berezit Clarity. Have 5% chance to proc Clear Casting State, then making your Regrowth costing no mana. And from the talent over here, is also increasing that Regrowth healing by 30%. And that Clear Casting is also using this Forest Flow, so another extra heal will spawn from that. So more about it with Regrowths, but it's huge to keep Lifeblooms always ready, because there is huge things about it. It's not that expensive mana, and just massive amount of mechanics that is around those Lifeblooms. Also when you cast Regrowth, it's shared on the target with Lifeblooms. Just huge ability. That's why it's the most priority to have always prepared before we start using other abilities. Alright, second priority, also massive, and we want to always have it prepared, is our Efflorescence. We'll talk about it a little. It's our big green circle on the floor. So what is Efflorescence doing? Healing on its own, it's quite boring. Look how down it is. What is huge on it is that Spring Blossom. There's also an important healing, but it's increasing all other heals. So keep in mind this AoE is more about increasing other heals. So 11.4%, but it's healing to Verdancy, and if you check that Verdancy is even higher than that ring or that circle on the floor on its own. What's new with this hero talent? Let's talk about them a little. So some specific abilities for damage. They have chance to proc some vines that are doing damage, and from healing is Regrowth, and Efflorescence healing have a chance to proc symbiotic blooms that are healing our group, or the specific targets that gets it. And Efflorescence is one of those abilities. That's why it's so good to stand in Efflorescence and making that ability even more important when you have these hero talents. So symbiotic blooms, let's talk about them a little. They're quite decent healing. If you check on my game battle, where is it? Symbiotic blooms looks on its own, give me 50% over here. Quite huge healing on its own, but every single target with it have increased healing by your mastery, 11.4% in my case. And then symbiotic blooms increase the healing of your spells due to affected targets by 20%. And that's another huge, massive buff. So it's not only it's healing on its own this much, but it's also increasing other heals a lot. So yes, keep Efflorescence always under the group, and that's huge. And usually on melee, hit tank, and like if tank is these pillows, I usually cast like this, so we can hit as much melee DPS and then maybe some ranged that is standing close enough. Always on melee, because melee cannot go on range and still doing DPS, but ranged can go on melee and still do DPS, so always on melee. And tank usually bans Efflorescence, because mostly he's taking damage and everybody else is chill if you control everything most of the time. Defense. So this Lifebloom and Efflorescence we want to have always all the time prepared, even when there is not much to heal. We just have this ready, and then when bigger damage will happen, something is not interrupted, blah blah blah, you are already prepared to do some nice, decent healing. So, moving on, third priority is our Groove Guardians. We don't have Keeper of the Groove, so not so huge, but still massive cooldown. Let's say when we are using them, so anytime there is any damage happening in the group, just use them. They will do. So they are cheaper mana, they have very low cooldown, just 20 seconds, and they are not costing you global cooldown, so you're not using any of your time. You can click it anytime. So anytime there is something to heal, you can use it even from Kitty when you are doing damage. You don't change your forms, they will start healing. And if you are applying some, of course, burst healings, then time you on it. So what they are doing, after they spawn, they will heal one target with Swiftmend, then they will cast Regrowth, and then they are spamming nourishes. What they are doing till they will just perish. Just spam those nourishes. But Regrowth, once again, is not a huge heal, but is increasing healing of your other heals through mastery. So yeah, it's quite huge when you blast this before some AoE burst, and they will apply 3 Regrowth. There will be 3 specific Regrowth. They won't stack together, so you will have millions of Regrowth. Look at this, bam, 3 hots over time effects, and each of these hots is increasing your healing. So you can just keep multiple of them, then blast them at the same time. They will increase your other heals quite nicely. But otherwise, they are just healing single target, and they are good at choosing single targets. They are really good for that. So if you check their nourishes, for example, from Trent, it's just 20% overheal. This is vastly less overheal than any of my other abilities. So they know which target to choose. I'm just trying to say they are choosing their targets good, so you don't need to target them, just release them, and they will take care of everything. So let's move on. Fourth priority is our Cenarion Ward. We have also new talent for it. But what is Cenarion Ward is buff for 30 seconds, and anytime somebody with a buff will get hit, that this buff will be changed and it will be healing over time effect. It's a really fast healing over time effect, that's huge for it. And now it's 2 seconds longer. We have talent for it. That's new talent what we got, 2 seconds longer, so even better, and 10 seconds shorter cooldown. So it's not 30 seconds, it's 20 seconds. So really huge. I'm not sure if I use it on cooldown, but yeah, it's a huge part of our healing. It's even great to extend its duration through Swiftmend. More about it in a moment. So just keep using it. If you don't have anyone, well, for the spot heal, if somebody drop on the lower level, sure. Or AoE is coming, prepare on somebody who doesn't have Lifebloom, for example, to have extra healing. Or as I do usually, when tank is running to new pack, I will just apply, he will get first hit, he will get nice healing. I won't get aggro because I applied before it, that's quite nice for it. So just keep using it. I usually just spam it on tank in AoE, I just prepare on someone. And of course, if somebody's getting more damage, like he's targeted by some ability that is single target, then great target for your Cenarion Ward. Alright, fifth priority is our Swiftmend. So, Swiftmend, we still need to use it. It's by default now, right? Swiftmend, we still need to use it on targets that have a Regrowth, Regrowth on Rejuvenation. Why? Because before it was consuming, but it's no longer consuming it because we are playing talent over here. That means it's not consuming it, but it's extending duration of HOTS by 8 seconds. That's what I was mentioning, it's huge when you extend the duration of Cenarion Ward. It's quite a lot of heal extra, because that HOT is not that long and it's healing quite a lot. So we have some targets that have this healing over time effects, so we can use the Swiftmend. So Swiftmend is doing quite decent initial healing. So average hit, I have million, so really decent initial healing. It will extend duration of HOTS you have on the target. The lowest health target have with the Swiftmend. The shorter cooldown you will have, up to 40%. After you use Swiftmend, in a case you are playing this talent, you have some overtime effect. I just choose to save one, because this will be 2 talents, and this way is just 1 talent to get down there, and definitely want to play Improve Regrowth. So, in case this is healing overtime effect, and you are getting Soul of the Forest buff after using Swiftmend. For the Soul of the Forest is increasing your Regrowth and Rejuvenation by 150%. Next one, just one. And Wild by 50%. And one more effect, after you Swiftmend, you get stack of Reforestation, and when you get 4 stacks of Reforestation, then you get 3 of life for 10 seconds. So if you not play it, sure, up to you. So another ability that have many mechanics, and it's quite cheap on mana, so you want to keep using them because there is a lot of free mechanics from it. So which one want to use, like which ability with Swiftmend with that Soul of the Forest. So depend what is happening. If you need to heal AoE, go for that Regrowth, also increased by 50%, so it's great. If you need to heal fast, somebody is really low, go for Regrowth. And then if nothing to heal and you just want to use it, just click Rejuvenation, usually on tank. I'll just put strong Rejuvenation and usually he will use that heal. But sure, ideally Regrowth or Regrowth. So let's move on once again, and now we have Regrowth. Regrowth just in case we need AoE. But when it's AoE, Regrowth is our first ability to go. It will just apply healing effect on everyone. Important thing with Regrowth is that healing starts high and is getting lower over duration of Regrowth. So you don't want to precast it before AoE comes, you just want to finish casting when that AoE damage hits. Because you want to use that first text that will be the strongest one. So I literally empowered it with Soul of the Forest, and Regrowth is another ability that have chance to apply symbiotic blooms, so that's another reason why it's huge for that AoE healing. Because on its own, it's really huge. 50% of your stealth, but you can see massive numbers, and they are proccing symbiotic blooms, that is improving everything. Finally, some simpler ability, because that's it. You need to heal AoE, use Regrowth. Finally, something simple. Alright, so moving on, and this is not that simple, and it's our Regrowth. Another million mechanics we have with the Regrowth. So, Regrowth, we know the heal. I don't even have it on bars, sad. Classic heal, it's a strong initial heal, and then we have another part that is healing over time effect. Usually the smaller part, much more is on the initial. So what mechanics we have with Regrowth? First thing first, you already know when you cast it, healing over time effect will also spread on the targets with Lifebloom. Another thing with Regrowth is they have chance to spawn these symbiotic blooms. So if you have 3 hots, thanks to this one, it's great because it got chance to spawn another healing over time effects. We love healing over time effects. We are druids. Another thing about Regrowth have, if target already had Regrowth healing over time effect applied, its initial heal have 40% chance to be critical hit. Huge part of Regrowth healing, because you are not playing any critical, so this is a huge increase. And then we have the clear casting, we already mentioned a little, so when you have clear casting, it's costing no mana to cast Regrowth, it's 30% stronger, and we have Forest Flow, new talent with Dispatch, so it also casts another ability, and that is Nourish at 60% effectiveness. Nourish is not healing that much on its own, it's quite decent, 400 is on the paper, but you have 60% power from it, but Nourish is increased 300% for mastery, so every stack is counting as a 3, so Nourish heals are getting increased massively, so it's not so little, but with me it's usually overheal, sadly. But that's good, that means I didn't need to heal, right? But I was prepared. Now we know what is Regrowth doing, so when we are healing with Regrowth, well, when it's not enough from our healing over time effects that we did previously, applied everything, somebody's still dropping, bam, then we are spamming those Regrowths. In a case, we have those clear casting, you can squeeze it here and there, because what? It's completely free, so you can just prepare those healing over time effects, whatever, it's once again free, so why not to use it with clear casting, also got stronger 30% power and those extra Nourish. In a case, some stronger single target heals, then use it with buff Soul of the Forest, it's a 150, and if you need really strong heal, even combine this buff with Nature Swiftness for another buff and it will be multiplicative, so result will be huge. There was 3,200,000 I seen. That was non-critical, so really you can pump it high. I didn't even have healing on type effects on me, so it could be much higher if I had Lifebloom and stuff like that. So biggest what I did, this is just initial heal. So for 6,400,000. It's not counting overhealing here, so maybe even more. Who knows? And on the end we have Rejuvenation, our classic druid ability. But let's talk about it. So Rejuvenation is doing less heal than Regrowth, but what is great to use Rejuvenation for is prepare for some burst heals. So when some burst is coming, then prepare Rejuvenations on specific targets. When this just burst for single target or just on everyone, it will be increasing healing through mastery, it will heal on its own, and also when it's on Lifebloom target, it's giving another chance for the Lifebloom to bloom. So yeah, mostly prepare for burst, but anytime Rejuvenation is fine, because it's instant. When you're running between packs, or you just need to a little bit more healing to single target and you don't want to bother to cast with Regrowth, so just apply Rejuvenation. Also usable for this ability. Alright, that was all our priorities. That's focusing on healing. Let's move on to cooldowns. So we don't have much with Druid anymore. We have Convoke and we have our Nature Swiftness. Well, Cenarion Ward is cooldown too, but I put it to priorities. It's short cooldown. Let's first talk about Nature Swiftness. I mentioned it multiple times already. So your next Regrowth, Revert or Roots, we don't care about others. Regrowth, it's what we really care about. It's instant, costs 0 mana, and is improved by 100 or 135% with down over here. So, when somebody is really low and we really need to heal him, bam, Nature Swiftness, Regrowth, he's happy. If we have Soul of the Forest buff before, because we use Swiftmend, even huger heal. But I really use for our Nature Swiftness because this is more or less our only way to AoE heal. And it's not even AoE because it's from single target abilities, but they can be casted many times in a row, is we combine it with Convoke. So let's talk about Convoke, what it is. So Convoke, you click it, 12 abilities will be casted in a time of 3 seconds. And we have also town for it, so it's focusing more abilities that are like better ones, so higher chance to cast Regrowth, higher chance to cast Flourish. Thing with Convoke is it's listening to your form. So if you are in Kitty and you want to heal with Convoke, not great. If you are in Kitty, it will be mostly damage abilities. Of course, it will be also healing, but yeah, mostly damage abilities if you are in Kitty. Another thing with Convoke, if you are focusing on damage, make sure everybody is quite healed to full, so heal them first, then use Convoke, because Convoke also looking, oh, is everybody full or there is some issues over there. So if you want to do full damage, heal everyone, then click Convoke and will be more for damage. But ideally, with no form, if you have Reforestation, it's amazing when you cast it while you have your Tree of Life form. So we are hoping with the Convoke to cast million Regrowths and with that to heal AoE. And we want to combine it with Nature Swiftness because that buff to Regrowth won't be consumed when Regrowth will be casted by Convoke, but that Regrowth will be empowered by this 100 or 135%. That means we casted Nature Swiftness, it will blast with Convoke. Oh, I got nice Flourish. See, it's casting also Swiftmends, it's consuming this Soul of the Forest. I even have 2 Soul of the Forest at the same time. That's interesting, quite. And we didn't consume it, so it's still ready, and we can still blast one huge 4.4 million Regrowth on the end. So, yes, ideally use it together, just in case you need to really save somebody's life. Then you click it and use that Regrowth instantly, because if somebody don't die in dungeon, it's safe 15 seconds, because now it's 15 seconds down if somebody dies. Of course, a little bit hierarchies. And also you save time because the guy don't need to consume combat rest, don't need to come from spawn, stuff like that. So yeah, it's worth it to save somebody's life, as usual. Well, as usual, if somebody dies, it's bad. Somebody, I mean players. So, that'll be all with the healing, but let's talk about damage a little. This one is, I would say, a little bit better for damage, but you need to be more active than the other one. But we don't do that much damage with Druid anyway, so does it really matter? Alright, when you have many targets, let's say like 10, 8, it's hard to test what is the best, because you don't have target dummies that are like 8 of them and 10 of them and 15 of them to know exactly that number that is worth it to stop doing single target and just go full AoE. But let's say 10, then you just cast the Sunfire. If you have Thresh, you'll cast Thresh too, and then you're just spamming Sunfire. Oh, Sunfire, Starfire. These 3 abilities. Well, 2 if you don't have that Thresh. Because it's not worth it to apply a single target, because there is so many targets that AoE is just worth it much more. In case you have less targets or single target, well, you're applying Rake. If you have nice juicy talent I really like. Not many people are playing with it, but I think it's great. Saving 1 global anytime. So Rake already I'm using to switch to form. And you're applying this bleed. You can see that bleed is important because also it gets a chance to proc our hero talents. So it's proccing those Bloodseeker vines that are bleeding, increasing our damage, and is also increasing damage taken from our abilities by 5%. So we want to apply those bleeds on the targets, and we have enough combo points. We're applying Rip. That's our best damage source, we can say. And that Rip is also applying this Bloodseeker vines. Well, good chance. So yeah, we are spraying bleeds. And then let's say everything have bleeds already. Imagine everybody have a Rip already. And Rake too. So we are switching from Rake to Shred. It's the same thing, it's just initial heal, not bleed. And if everything have Rip, we are switching from Rip to Ferocious Bite. But depending on the targets, we still want to apply Sunfires and we still want to apply Moonfires. Moonfires is worth like 3 targets maximum. If you have 4, don't even bother with Moonfires. But you always will be having some time, because once energy will be depleted, so you will switch form to apply it, or you will need to click some heals. Only 3s can be used from your kitty, so you will just switch form, you apply Sunfire and go back to kitty and start scratching again. In case you are playing with Talent Maester Shapeshifter, that is regenerating your mana, you are focusing more about to casting those kitty abilities with 5 combo points, and more about casting your not Mount, your Starfire and your Wrath, because it's giving you mana. So let's focus on the spread of bleeds or some Moonfires, more about casting abilities and using abilities in kitty that is giving you those mana. So yeah, that will be all from me about this build. This one is more to RNG, more to convoke, more to sustain and time for doing damage. The other one is more about rejuvenations, abundance. Don't even play convoke there, because I want to have absolutely 100% control about my healing, not so much RNG. But of course, any mix you'll do between, it's fine, it's working. Once again, it's depend on dungeon, it's depend on what group you have. If you have some tankier classes, I don't know, 3 Retribution Paladins that can bubble himself and he can heal himself, and he got quite nice defenses too, and armor that is protecting him from a lot of physical damage. It's different than healing some other classes, let's say shamans, that have 1 extra defensive but not really any sustain. So yeah, definitely feel to experiment. It's still not clear which build, which exactly talents are the best one. It's just situational. Maybe what you like, maybe what group is about, maybe what dungeon is about, maybe how good are playing players, or like how they are moving so they are not stacking or something like that. So just definitely feel free to experiment. If you have any questions about some choices or something is not clear, just ask in the comments. I usually answer under 24 hours. I will be happy to answer. If you want exactly the same guide, just in text form, then check out my Discord. Before I'm recording the guides, I'm always making them in text first, and then I'm just following them. So this is exactly the same points what I make in the text there. So link is also in the description. And anyway, thank you for watching. Think about liking and subscribing, it's helping me a lot, and goodbye.